You're listening to the Inside the Mix podcast with your host, Marc Matthews.
Hello and welcome to the Inside the Mix podcast. I'm Marc Matthews, your host, musician, producer, and mix and mastering engineer. You've come to the right place if you want to know more about your favorite synth music artists, music engineering and production, songwriting, and the music industry. I've been writing, producing, mixing, and mastering music for over 15 years, and I want to share what I've learnt with you. Hey folks, if you are new to the Inside the Mix podcast, welcome aboard. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. And to all the returning listeners, it's great to have you back. Welcome to episode 1 of the 5-day Audience Growth Accelerator Challenge. Now, you've probably heard me banging on about this at the beginning and the end of podcast episodes for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And hopefully you would have signed up to the challenge. So what am I doing? I'm rolling out a special series of podcast episodes dedicated to growing your audience on social media. So it's a deviation from the usual topics, but it's one that I think is particularly important as in conversations with you, the listeners, on social media, etc., growing an audience and content creation is one of the biggest pain points. And I think this is a pivotal thing for us to cover. So for the next 5 episodes, I'm going to hit you up with hot tips or tools to help you accelerate your audience growth. So what do you need to do? All you need to do is this. You just need to complete the action steps, of which there are a maximum of 3 at the end of each episode, and then you're good to go. Okay, so what I want to know is, are you up for the challenge? If so, here's what you can expect in the next 5 episodes. So starting with this episode, we're going to look at creating a social media plan. So we're going to be defining your target audience. Then we're going to look at social media trends and how we can use them to create content. Then we're going to focus in on Reels and TikToks and best practice in terms of structuring content. And then we're going to look at understanding CTAs or call to actions and how we can use them. And then finally, we're going to look at probably the most pivotal part of this in being social, as it is social media. So in today's episode, of which it is episode 1, we're going to be starting with the first topic of this mini-series, this challenge, which is creating a social media plan and figuring out your target audience. So let's dive in. So the first thing we need to do when we are creating our audience avatar is to think we want to get a clear picture, basically, of their likes and dislikes and what kind of content they want to see. So once you've done that, once you know that, you can create content that speaks directly to them. So we're in the game of music production, okay, or mixing, mastering, whatever it may be. So what you want to do is put yourself in the shoes of your audience. If you were searching on social media online, what do you want to see? What would grab your attention? Okay, what would make you think, you know what, I want to follow this account. I want to see more content like this. Because what you don't really want to do is just sporadically put content out there. For example, it's great putting out videos of your music, but you really want to grasp the listener. What do you want to see? What would make you, the audience, watch one of your videos? Would it be a behind the scenes look at creating music? Would it be something funny attributed to the song? Would it be behind the scenes where you're actually talking about you as an individual? Think about what you want to see. Put yourself in the shoes of your audience. And from that, you can then get a clear picture as to what content you should be creating to draw those people in. Drag's probably the wrong word. You don't want to start dragging people, but to really draw them in. Think of the content that you would want to see. Okay? What really sparks your interest, and from that you can start to generate. So what I suggest you do is get a piece of paper and a pen if you want to go old school, or use something like Google Docs and just start writing down, or maybe scroll through social media, check out some accounts and see what stands out to you, what grabs your attention. Just scroll through Reels on Instagram. I'm probably going to say Instagram a lot because it is the main platform I use, and I'll go into more detail further in this series as to why. But just scroll through what stands out, magpie ideas. What you don't want to do is just sort of haphazardly put content out there thinking, I think this is what people want. Actually go through and look and see what's engaging. See what you've commented on most in the past few days. So that there is how you're going to create your avatar. So as I said, get a piece of paper and a pen if you want, or a ring binder. Let's go totally old school. Or just use Google Docs and start brainstorming, or mind mapping rather, all of the content ideas you think your audience would want to see, and start there. That's tip number 1. So the next tip is this. Think about, where does your audience hang out online? Is it on Instagram? Is it on Facebook? Is it on TikTok, Discord, wherever it may be? And what you want to do is you want to identify these online stomping grounds, these watering holes, if you like, and go in there and see what kind of content is being created. Have a look at the content that's being created and see which content is getting the most engagement. Alternatively, you can look and see at what content isn't getting the most engagement, and that'll give you a good indication of probably what you don't want to be doing. It's also an opportunity as well to ingratiate yourself into that watering hole, for want of a better way of putting it, and getting more active and involved. And then you'll start to develop sort of an awareness with other people that you exist essentially in these places, and you can start building yourself a profile. And when you're doing this, make notes. Once again, go back to that document I mentioned earlier and start making notes. Okay, this is where my audience is hanging out. This is the content that's really engaging them. And from that, you can start to develop your plan. So that's number 2. So here's the third one for this first episode. This is the third tip. And I think this is probably most important. And I got my fingers burnt a lot over the last however many years, whether it was when I was in the band and I was promoting, whether it's I'm promoting the podcast, and it's spreading yourself too thin. There is an abundance of social media platforms out there, and you kind of get this FOMO, fear of missing out. You spread yourself on all these platforms for fear of missing out on opportunities on these different platforms. But by spreading yourself too thin, you're not dedicating, you're not giving your all to one platform, and what you're probably experiencing is a lack of engagement. So what I suggest doing is this: pick one platform where your audience hangs out, so you can use the research that you've just done in terms of watering holes. And where are you getting the most engagement, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, whatever it may be, and then dedicate for the next 30 days, starting today, dedicate all your time to promoting yourself and pushing content and engaging in networking on that one platform. So the one I chose is Instagram. Yes, I'm active, probably still, and shouldn't be on these other platforms, but you'll notice that most of my content, most of my time is dedicated to generating content on Instagram. And I have noticed a difference over the last 2 or 3 months in terms of engagement. I get a lot more DMs, I get a lot more comments, I get a lot more sharing as well. Now, notably, I haven't seen the number of followers go up, but to be honest with you, I'm not overly bothered about follower count. I don't think you should be either. I think it's all to do with engagement. If you've got, 500, 1,000, or even less than 500 followers, but you are getting a lot of engagement, that is a lot better than having thousands and thousands of followers, but nobody's bothered about your content or engaging with you. So that's the way I would look at it. So don't look at vanity metrics like numbers of followers, because in reality, what you want is engagement. You want people engaging with your content. As I say, it's great. You can have all these numbers, you can have all these followers rather, but unless anybody's actually talking to you, what does it mean? So my challenge to you is pick your platform, and for the next 30 days, dedicate your time. Don't worry about the other ones. They'll still be there in 30 days' time, okay? If it doesn't work out on the platform that you choose, try another one. But at least give it a go, folks. So dedicate to one platform. Okay, so now it's time to take action. Okay, these are your actionable steps. Here's what you have to do off the back of today's episode. And I want you to do this today. Number 1, define your audience avatar. Number 2, figure out where they hang out online. And then number 3, pick a social media platform and go all in on that one platform for the next 30 days. I know that is going to be hard, but trust me, you will reap the benefits of doing so. So in the next episode, or rather part 2 of this 5-day audience growth accelerated challenge, we move on to social media trends and how to use them.